Hello, everybody, and welcome to Great Happenings today with your host Ram. What a day we had today at the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai in the ICC Cricket World Cup, where Glenn Maxwell single handedly took the Australia to the semi finals with a victory over Afghanistan. And Glenn Maxwell slammed 201 runs, thus becoming the first Australian double centurion in ODI in World Cups. And he smashed the Afghanistan attack to smithereens as he got an unbeaten 201 of 128 deliveries, which included 21 fours and 10 sixes. And he came at a stage when the Australian innings was tottering at 91 for 7. And probably one was thinking the end was near, but Glenn Maxwell was always a threat, and he proved it to be today with some bout of power hitting. And also, let me talk about his knock, that this particular knock will be etched in World Cup history. Now, when I saw this particular knock of his, I can only remember one knock that really comes to mind, and that was in Tunbridge Wells in England in the year 1983 in the World Cup, when the former Indian all-rounder Kapil Dev came in when the Indian innings stood at 17 for 5 and came and slammed an unbeaten 175. And after that, that is big history, because India went on to upset the West Indian apple cart in the 1983 World Cup and lift their first ever World Cup in their history. So I think Glenn Maxwell's knock will be written in gold as far as this knock. And one thing I would like to tell you, as far as Kapil Dev's knock was concerned, on those times there was no telecast. Telecast was there, but this particular match, unfortunately, was not telecast. And every Indian fan would have been proud of it. But unfortunately, they could not witness the spectacle. But today, I'm very glad that this particular knock of Glenn Maxwell, which came at a time when the Aussies were tottering at 91 for 7 and were in real threat of losing their semi-final spot. Not losing the semi-final spot, but definitely under threat of being beaten by Afghanistan. And Glenn Maxwell comes like a phoenix from the ashes with the score on 91 for 7 and slams 201 runs. And that too, a big credit. And also, talking about the Kapil Dev knock as an all-rounder of 175 against Zimbabwe at the Tunbridge Wells, one more thing was that there was no telecast, so everybody missed the part of it. But the Aussie fans and also the world cricket fans, I would say, were absolutely blessed to witness this great spectacle. And as I said, after Kapil Dev's knock, I would rate this as the best ever knock in World Cup history. Hats off to you, Glenn Maxwell. He came with the side at 91 for 7, and everything looked lost for Australia. But Australia, thanks to Glenn Maxwell. And also, one more thing I have to say about Glenn Maxwell: got a painstaking knock from him. He had cramps. He was, there was a time after reaching his century. I believe it was probably around the 120, 130. He was just standing there and delivering. There was no foot movement. He was just hitting the ball through the line, and he was hitting it with tremendous force. And over and above that, the precision, the way he was swatting the ball, the way he was reverse swatting the ball, the way he was lofting the ball, the way he was maneuvering the ball with his wrist. And it was something absolutely breathtaking. I mean, I have not seen an innings like this in the World Cup. This was simply, the word is breathtaking knock from Glenn Maxwell. And I'm sure this knock is going to be remembered in World Cups for quite a long time, or probably throughout the World Cup. It was such a wonderful knock. Yes, you might feel it is Afghanistan, but let's understand that Afghanistan have been doing a great job in this World Cup. And look at what they did. on this particular ground, they put 291 at the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai, which, according to me, was a par score. They were almost near 300. And that is the total where they challenged the Aussies, and the Aussies were absolutely at sea, 91 for 7. And here comes Glenn Maxwell, along with his captain, Pat Cummins. Let's see the partnership. The partnership was worth 202 runs. Of that, the major share is coming from Glenn Maxwell. My word, what a knock that was. Pat Cummins was not out on 12. And also a credit to Pat Cummins. I mean, he did not take absolutely no risk because, overs were there, wickets were less. And Pat Cummins also should be credited because he kept blocking the balls, whether it is the spinners, whether it is the pacers, the seamers, whoever it was. He was not bothered about that. He just believed in just blocking it. And he gave tremendous support to Maxwell, allowed Maxwell to absolutely farm the strike. And as I said, with these cramps that he has played, this knock is looking like even greater than, Kapil Dev's knock of 175 is always there. But I thought with the pain that he played, I would rather give credit to Glenn Maxwell as the best ever knock in World Cup history now, probably even usurping the Kapil Dev's knock of 175, because such was the value of this knock. And look what it has done. It has taken Australia to the semi-finals of the ICC Cricket World Cup. So well done, Maxwell. Well done, Australia. And my commiserations to Afghanistan. They did not feel, yes, they're absolutely, I think they're out of the semi-final race. I'm just going to look at the table right now. I believe they still have matches, not wrong, and they're at 8 points. So yeah, sorry, they still have a chance. They still have a chance because their hat is still in the ring. But what has happened now is that there are only one place up for grabs as far as the semi-final spot, and that is going to be battled between Pakistan, New Zealand, and Afghanistan. What a World Cup we are having here! And today was thorough entertainment. And as I said, oh my word, I just can't keep admiring this knock of Glenn Maxwell, which has gone the distance for Australia. And if you look at that card and over and above, as I said, he played all the strokes. I mean, he was just hitting through the line. There was power, there was timing, there was precision. I mean, he was using his wrist. He was swatting the ball. He was reverse swatting the ball, sweeping, reverse sweeping. I mean, you name it. He was just making batting look so easy. He was absolutely toying with the Afghanistan bowlers, and all this, battling cramps in his legs. Legs are very important for you to move the feet against the spinners. But with spinners, he was just hitting through the line. And as far as the pacers, well, that is the power of Glenn Maxwell. And what a record now for Glenn Maxwell. He holds two coveted records in world cricket now. One is he holds the record for the fastest century in World Cup history of 40 balls, which he did it in this World Cup against Netherlands. And now he's also holding another ace now. He becomes the first Aussie centurion, the first Aussie to get a double century in a World Cup. And I think it is not even in a World Cup. I think it's in ODIs, if I'm not wrong, but I just need to check that. And I think it's in World Cups he has become the first double centurion. Oh, mine, I just can't stop talking about this man, Glenn Maxey. Maxey has just made it so special for Australia. And what a day for Australia today. Who would have thought that? I definitely had the gut feeling that, but I thought that the chances were a bit slender. Because the reason being, at the time when Glenn Maxwell was there, it was 91 for 7. So I thought probably if Afghanistan would take Cummins or any other wickets, then they're getting into the tail. But luckily enough, Glenn Maxwell just absolutely slammed the Afghanistan bowlers. My commiserations to Afghanistan, but Afghanistan, let me tell you, you can hold your heads high. You have challenged all the teams in this competition. And they have nothing to, and well, they're still there. They're still there. I wish them good luck to still reach the semi-finals. Let's see what happens between Afghanistan, New Zealand, and Pakistan. Well, now let's talking about this particular game. If I look at this game here, first credit to Afghanistan. In fact, because of Glenn Maxwell's knock, unfortunately, the first ever Afghanistan centurion was overshadowed. None other than the very attractive stroke maker, Ibrahim Zadran. What a knock from Ibrahim Zadran. 129 of 143 deliveries, which included 8 4s and 3 6s. And look at the way he grafted. He was the one who was holding the innings. Normally, you would have expected Rahman Shah to do it. Rahman Shah looked good in his knock of 30, really occupying the crease. But I think Ibrahim Zadran was mainly responsible for building the innings, and he was nurturing the Afghanistan innings. And thanks to him, and with some final striking from Rashid Khan, who really hit the ball very wildly, which is very capable of, with an unbeaten 35 of 18, with 2 4s and 3 6s. He took Afghanistan, as I said, to a par score of 291 for 5 at the very hot Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai. Ibrahim Zadran, 129, becoming the first ever Afghanistan centurion in World Cup history. And congratulations to Ibrahim Zadran for doing so. They truly deserved that. And what an innings from Ibrahim Zadran. I mean, he went, and once he reached his century, you saw how he really opened up his shoulders and started smacking sixes. And that is that shows the prowess of a cricketer. As to how you could adjust, how you could adapt to the conditions. And that was absolutely superb. As I said, one would always talk about Glenn Maxwell's innings, yes, because it absolutely overshadowed Ibrahim Zadran's innings. And thanks to him only, Afghanistan made 291. Other than that, nothing really to talk about. Hasmutullah Shahidi, he made 26 of 43. Osmatullah Omarzai, another great find for Afghanistan in this tournament. I mean, with the bat, with the ball, he did everything in his might. He is an absolute package. He's a wonderful all-rounder. He could turn into one of Afghanistan's greatest all-rounders, according to me, after looking at the way. And today I saw one of his shots that he played, just taking it off the hop. I think it was Mitchell Starc. He just hit just over the boundary for a six, and to me that was absolutely the shot of the day. There was classicism in it, and it was a pure timing. I mean, he had just come in. Now this is what Asmatullah Omarzai, he's a very terrific all-rounder, because he does not take much time to settle down, and if he settles down, it takes hardly any time for him to open his shoulders, and that's what he precisely did. But here he just teed off as if he was playing golf. Mohammad Nabi failed with the bat with 12, but Rashid Khan, as I said, swung wildly, and one of the strokes where he bended himself and slammed it over the fence. Oh, that was a stroke which went for a 6, and one could rave about that. And that is Rashid Khan. He can also play the helicopter shot. We all know that. Bowling, Mitchell Starc 1 for 70 of his 9, but look at Hazelwood's bowling figures. Absolutely on the money. 9 overs, no maiden, 2 for 39. Maxwell has been doing his job in this World Cup, 1 for 55. Cummins, 8 overs, none for 47. Zampa got 1 for 58, had a none for 15. And let's have a look at the Australian card. Now, Australia, with the chase beginning to chase this 291, it all started, and I always thought with the 4 spinners that Afghanistan have, that should be enough, but it was not to be. As I said, Glenn Maxwell single-handedly destroyed the Afghanistan bowling attack, coming in at 91 for 7, from taking it from 91 for 7, I would call, to take it to victory, and into the semi-finals Australia go. Now, looking at the Australian card, David Warner, if you look at the Australian card, the first wicket that they got, according to me, was a big key. And that is a huge breakthrough. And what a bowling from this man, Naveen-ul Haq. I mean, he was getting even the Aussie bowlers could not move the ball. The way Naveen-ul Haq was moving the ball, he was getting the ball to move late. And that was what precisely trapped Travis Head into the mix. He was caught by the wonderful keeper, Ikram Ali Keel, behind the stumps of Naveen-ul Haq for naught. So that was the first blood drawn by Afghanistan bowlers. After that, we saw David Warner and Mitchell Marsh at the crease, but Naveen-ul Haq at that time was absolutely unplayable. He was moving the ball both ways, and he was getting the ball to jag in and jag away. And over and above that, as I said, he was getting late movement. And that late movement is something which can really fox the batsman. And that was what was the main feature of Naveen-ul Haq's bowling. The spinners were thrust in, and Mitchell Marsh, he was also LBW to Naveen-ul Haq for 24. David Warner, Asmatullah Omarzai. Now, as I told you, he's a wonderful all-rounder. Comes here, he's someone who has already been spoken, even Sachin Tendulkar has spoken about his bowling grip on the ball when he holds the seam. He can hit the seam straight. And he is the one who picked up the wicket of David Warner. He clean bowled David Warner. First, he bowled a maiden over to Warner, and then he comes here and knocked his off stump off. What a talent! Absolutely great talent there with a fuller delivery. And then he comes on to grab another wicket. Azmatullah Umar, he also took the wicket of Josh Inglis, the very first ball blob. He sent him to the pavilion with the first ball blob as he got the ball to move away. Wonderful outswinger. And that was the end of Josh English playing into the hands of Ibrahim Zadran in the slips. After that, Manas, now this was the time. I thought this was the turning point. But doesn't matter because Australia won the match. But if you look at it, 49 for 4. And I thought, as far as Manas Labuschagne was there, who is the stabilizing force in this Australian cricket team, he was doing his bit along with the other player. I think, if I'm not wrong, it was I think Stoinis. He was doing it, but then Manas Labuschagne, I thought a bit doing some ball watching. Normally, he had to watch his partner, but he decided to watch the ball. And that bit of hesitation cost him his wicket, with Rahmat Shah throwing down the stumps there for 14. But after that, as I told you, it was all about Glenn Maxwell. And then Marcus Stoinis, LBW Rashid Khan on a reverse sweep. Mitchell Stark was out to Rashid Khan too. Well, Mitchell Stark was definitely not out. They did not review, and probably the review time was over, I reckon. But look at, but let's look at what happened after that. That was 91 for 7. But after that, it was absolutely a Glenn Maxwell show. Not out 201, 128 deliveries, 21 fours and 10 sixes. My word, absolutely superb. And then Cummins, the captain, blocks and blocks and blocks, and just makes 12 runs, eking 12 runs, I would call it, of playing 68 deliveries with just a solitary boundary. Yes, a solitary boundary. Now, looking at the bowling, I always had the feeling that probably the spinners really went for plenty. Mujibur Rahman, 8.5 overs, 1 maiden, none for 72. Now, luck, the pick of the bowlers for me, 9 overs, 2 for 47. Also, Azmatullah Omarzai, 1 maiden, 2 for 52. Rashid Khan, Rashid Khan bowled well, 10 overs, 244. Noor Ahmed was also okay, 10 overs, 1 maiden, none for 53. Nabi went for 20 of his 2 overs. So definitely, I think it's a wonderful job done by Australia and Maxwell. I think it's all about Glenn Maxwell today. And as I said, he holds 2 great records now in world cricket. And there can't be a happier person than Glenn Maxwell, because that particular knock has taken Australia to the semi-finals. They can breathe free now. They can just play in a very relaxed manner in the other 2 games. And tomorrow, the game coming up is England taking on Netherlands. And let us understand one thing: Netherlands are definitely out of the race, and England are also out of the race. But here, the race is going to be for the Champions Trophy. Who is going to qualify for the Champions Trophy? Is it going to be the Netherlands? Is it going to be England? So that is going to be the question, and we will soon find out after tomorrow's match. Now I'm going to answer all my dear listeners or dear audience who has been talking to me. Yes, my friend, this is already gone for 19 minutes, my friend Pranshu. And, I don't know. When it comes to cricket, I just can't stop talking about cricket. I can wax eloquent probably the whole time. I'm such a person. I talk with passion. I talk with emotion. And that is what I love cricket. And my friend, yes, I mean, you have already said, I'm just reading through your notes here. Yes, Kapil Dev's 175, but I think I will give credit to, I will rate Glenn Maxwell's knock of 201 as the best ever knock. Yes, India won the World Cup, but the reason I'm giving credit to this Glenn Maxwell knock, which is taking precedence over the Indian star all-rounder Kapil Dev's knock of 175, is for the fact The only fact I would say here, it was a painstaking knock, because he had to he was playing with pain. So that's the reason I'm giving more credit to Glenn Maxwell's knock. And then as far as after Kapil Dev, no, I think Glenn Maxwell's knock, I'll put it on the top because of his enduring the pain and making a double century, and that to making a double century. So you're going even above Kapil Dev's 175. Well, dear fans, I think that's about it as far as today's cricket show goes. Tomorrow I'll be back once again to talk about the England-Netherlands game. Till such time, I see you folks. It's goodbye from here. Thank you.